Hey everybody. So I want to talk about scoring a little bit here because currently right now we have 11 players in the NHL on pace to reach 100 or more points this season. Now last season we also had a high number of players on pace to reach that number. And then over the course of the season, that less and less kept up that pace until we got to the end of the season where only 3 of them actually scored 100 points last season. That was Nikita Kucherov, Claude Giroux, and Connor McDavid. So this year, we have some very high point totals in the first few months again. But it remains to be seen how many of these players actually will keep up their point production at this level. Currently, right now, the leader in points in the NHL is Mikko Rantanen with the Colorado Avalanche. He is at 46 points already and is on pace for 134 points this season. I'm very, very, very willing to bet right now that Rantanen does not reach 134 points. But 110 is not out of the question, especially the way he's been scoring lately and how his ability to rack up points this season, mostly assists. Second is Nathan Mackinnon, also from the Colorado Avalanche. That top line of the Avalanche has been unreal. McKinnon has 43 points right now, and he's on pace for 125 on the season. Again, he's probably not going to reach 125, but 110 is not out of the question. Nikita Kucherov, he's third. He's at 42 points right now. He's on pace for 118. After that, you have Mitch Marner in Toronto. He has 39. He's on pace for 114. Braden Point in Tampa Bay, much like Kucherov, he's at 37 right now. He's on pace for 104 because Tampa Bay's played more games than some of these other guys. Blake Wheeler in Winnipeg has 36 right now. He's on pace for 109. Connor McDavid, even though he missed a game the last game, he has 35. He's on pace for 106. Johnny Gaudreau in Calgary has 35. He's on pace for 102. Calgary's played more games than Edmonton. That's why they have the same number of points now, but a different projected total. Ovechkin and Alex Ovechkin and Nick Backstrom, both in Washington, have 33 points now, are on pace for 100 on the dot. And the last one who I couldn't fit on the board, but Evgeny Malkin in Pittsburgh is also on pace for 100 on the dot. He has 32 right now. So that's 11 players on pace for 100 points. Now, I definitely don't think that 100 players are going to have 100-point seasons. That you just don't see that anymore. Even though scoring is starting to climb back up, it went up a lot last year. It's going up again this year. We're definitely starting to see more scoring. We've even, if you go back 4 or 5 years, we were never even sure if we were going to have a 100-point score. I remember one year Jamie Benn led the entire NHL in points with 87. No one even got to 90. That was a few years ago now, but we're starting to see a significant increase in offense, and players are starting to get back to that 100-point mark. Last year, like I said, we had 3. That was the first time we had 3 players at 100 points or higher in a while. And I think we have the chance definitely for 5 or 6 players to get there this year. Obviously, health plays a huge role in that. These players have to play. I mean, to get to 100 points, you have to play at least, you would think, 78 or so games. Most of your 100-point guys are going to play 80, 81, or 82 games. If you miss any more than a couple games, you're probably not going to get there. So obviously all these guys have to stay healthy for them to actually finish the season at a 100-point or more point total. But I definitely think we have a very good chance of seeing multiple of these players over the 100-point mark. Rantanen, assuming he stays healthy, I think he's a guarantee. McKinnon also is probably pretty much a guarantee. I think he had 97 or 98 points last year, and he's on an even better pace this year. So assuming he stays healthy, I think McKinnon will get there. Kucherov did get there last year. He probably will again this year, because I don't even think Tampa Bay's played their best hockey yet. Kucherov's been fantastic. Tampa Bay's been fantastic, but they haven't been dominant. I think Tampa Bay is a team that we could see for a stretch be completely dominant. And if they do that, Kucherov's going to rack up even more points. Connor McDavid, I would think would have another 100-point season. He scores 100 points every year. The Oilers haven't been all that great this year. If they can get a little bit better, then McDavid's points are probably going to go even further up. As far as players on this list that I don't think get there, Braden Point, I don't think ends up getting to 100. I think he's a 90-point player for sure, but I don't think he ends up getting to 100. Johnny Gaudreau is on pace for 102 right now. In the end, I think he comes up as a 94, 95-point type guy, but probably not get to 100. Ovechkin won't get to 100. He'll have a lot of goals, but I don't think he'll get to 100. Backstrom, I don't think gets to 100. Malkin, they're barely on pace for it right now. I think as the season goes on, usually you see point paces drop. So I think anyone at 100 right now probably doesn't get there. Gaudreau probably doesn't get there. Blake Wheeler and Mitch Marner, I think, are the two that are up in the air. I think McDavid does. I think Kucherov, Mackinnon, and Rantanen do. So there's four that I think definitely will get to 100. I think Wheeler and Marner are your two that it's kind of like, does this keep up all season? Wheeler doesn't have a lot of goals. He's racking up assists, as is Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner has been absolutely fantastic for Toronto. But now William Nylander's coming back. He's going to take some of that ice time away, even though they don't play on the same line. Marner's been playing with Tavares, whereas Nylander plays with Matthews. But still, is he going to keep up this kind of point pace? It remains to be seen. He could, but there's also the chance that it doesn't. So I'd say we're going to have at least 400-point scores this year, which is one more than last year. We might have more than that, but there's definitely some on this list that I don't think actually get there. And there are a couple that I think could, but maybe won't necessarily. We'll have to wait and see. But thought it was interesting to look at because, I mean, we're in December and we still have 11 players at 100 point per game, or at a point per game pace that would get them to 100 points on the season. So, yeah, offense is up again. That people are scoring is a lot higher than it was even 4 or 5 years ago. Scoring is a lot higher. So we're getting back. The NHL is getting back to a league where 100 points isn't out of the question for its top players, where, you know, for a while it was only one guy, maybe two that would get there. Then there was a while where nobody was getting there and you didn't have anyone getting to 100. And now you're getting back to where you have multiple players at the 100-point mark every year. And I think that's a good thing. It's never going to go back to the 80s where, you know, guys are scoring, 200 points on the season, and you had teams scoring 6-7 goals a game. That's never coming back. The goaltending's too good. That's never coming back. But you're getting to the point now where you're getting multiple players every year over 100 points, and I think that's great. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media, check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the link to our Patreon as well as the link to our merch store are also down in the description. Peep this hat, which you can get at the merch store, as well as shirts, hoodies, all kinds of other stuff if you're interested. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.